Hey, welcome to another video. Thanks for tuning in to watch this one. This is a bit different from my usual videos, but I have something important to share with people that might be thinking of getting flight time and just getting their ratings the cheapest way possible. So I recently flew with this first officer, and he had a very unique approach to getting his ratings and his hours. Mind you, I was looking at myself on the screen, but I'm supposed to be looking here. So anyway, this was what he did. After high school, what he did was he went straight into flight training. Now, a lot of people do this, but majority of people don't get to finish flight training because it gets super expensive, and also they want to go to college, which is always a good thing. It's always a good thing to go to college, especially in the days that most airlines are now requiring that you have a degree. And also, especially if you want to work with like a major airline in the United States, generally they always ask that you have a degree. So what a lot of people would do is to finish college, finish high school, then go to college to get their degree in maybe aviation, and then they do flight training along with it. Now, unfortunately, this route is not cheap because now you're paying for flight training and also you're paying for your degree. Now, let me take this off. Now, what would end up happening is that by the time you finish college, you end up having so much debt, and so much debt due to training and flight and the degree. And a lot of people will finish with 100,000 plus in debt. Now, what this friend of mine did, this first officer, what he did was that he went straight into flight training and didn't go to college right away. He decided to work full-time and then did flight training part-time. So what that entails is that he was working, pretty much, let's say 12-hour days, and then he did flight training on his days off, like maybe on the weekends, and he did it as a Part 61 program. If you're not familiar with what Part 61 program is, it's something that, as a citizen of the United States, for example, you can actually do, even as an international student, you can do Part 61 as well. But generally, people that are, citizens of the United States go Part 61 because it's very flexible. You don't have to really have like a curriculum, pretty much. But if you do Part 141, 142, you generally have a curriculum that you have to follow. And, as an international student, you're required to be in school and show up on a regular basis. So with Part 61, this guy just did the training as he was able to with the money that he was saving, since he was living with his parents, and since he was also taking it as a pay-as-you-go type of deal, with the training. So he finished the training. After getting his commercial certificate, what he did was pretty much to go into to find jobs. So he started with aerial photography. So he mentioned he was able to get a job with this company that records videos over stadiums, like sporting events, things of that nature. So he started with that to get hours, and then eventually he was able to connect his way to a private company that basically needed a pilot, and he started working with those people. And then eventually he just got his hours along the way like that. Now, of course, not everybody can do this because it probably will take some people some time to be able to, work full time and then get their ratings. But the benefit of this is that now you're doing your training with money that you have and you are not in debt. Remember, a lot of people will finish flight training with over $200,000 in debt, and then they start at the same place with someone that went the route my friend went through, this first officer that I flew with. A lot of people will finish with over $200,000 and end up in the same position, making first year pay around $50,000 nowadays and above. And in that case, if you have $200,000 in debt, that just seemed like it's gonna be a long time to pay it off. The other thing also is that after he got his airline job, got his 1,500 hours, got the airline job, he then started taking his ratings, his degrees rather, his degree at a college online. Now, a lot of people take online degrees right now, and the benefit of this is because he already has his certificates from the aviation world as a pilot and ATPL and all that, is able to transfer a lot of credit from flight training into that degree program. So that means instead of spending, 4 years taking, 120 credits specifically from the program, you would only probably have to take maybe, I don't know, maybe 70, 80 credits instead of 120 credits. So that means it's also saving money. He doesn't have to pay for college now because he doesn't have to borrow money for college because he's now doing the job and also getting the money to pay off the school as well. So at the end of the day, this guy is only 24. He's almost done with his degree now and he's coming out with no debt. If you look at it in that sense, it's very cheap, and he's going to upgrade soon to become a captain, making something better than what a first officer will make, and with no debt. So I believe this is something that a lot of people should also explore, especially if you are 17, 16 years old, you're thinking of going into college, and you plan to, you want to be an airline pilot. I believe this was a very smart move that this guy made. Of course, you have to watch out for, the complacency that may develop, because now you're making money and you have no degree. If you get complacent, you might not want to go back to school. And that's going to also bite you later in the future, because when it's time to, go to like a bigger airline, you would then need that degree and you won't be able to provide it because you haven't taken it. So you're kind of limiting yourself. So it's very important to be able to keep that mindset or that goal to achieve the steps along the way and not get complacent. By the way, right now I'm in Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. This is the hotel room. I just got in right now, so I'm actually tired. And sorry if I'm kind of all over the place in the video, but it's kind of a different hotel. Kind of looks, yeah, it's okay. But anyway, just thought to share that with you guys. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are, and I hope that you have found value in this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one.